Today, I'm going to tell you guys why I believe that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has locked up the MVP. But before we get started, I want to tell you guys to hit that subscribe button, like, comment, and share, and to continue to support my channel. I believe that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has all but pretty much locked up the NBA MVP. With all due respect to Nikola Jokic, who's also having an unbelievable season in his own right, but the MVP should go to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. It just should. You know, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, man, I want to give this man his flowers. This man is having an incredible season. On the season, he is averaging 33 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. He's shooting 53% from the field and 37% from three. And he's also shooting 90% from the free throw line. I mean, come on. I mean, those are ridiculous numbers from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who, by the way, this isn't the first time he's actually put up this stat line. You know, this is now Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's third straight season of him averaging over 30 points a game while shooting over 50% from the field in a season. And do you guys know that there are only 3 players in NBA history who's averaged over 30 plus points a game while shooting over 50% from the field? There's only 3 guys in NBA history that have done what Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is currently doing. And those 3 players are George Gervin, Michael Jordan, and Steph Curry. That's the list. That is the list of guys who have scored over 30 plus points a game while shooting over 50% from the field in a season. It's George Gervin, Michael Jordan, who did it multiple years back in the late 80s and early 90s, and also Steph Curry. I mean, it's absurd. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has done it for the 3rd straight season. And I mean, this dude is just, he is special. He is a special talent. And look, I liked Shai Gilgeous-Alexander coming out when he was at Kentucky. I liked him. Now, look, many people didn't really mention him as like one of the top guys entering that draft. You know, that draft was DeAndre Ayton, it was Marvin Bagley, it was Luka Doncic, it was Jaren Jackson and Trae Young. Like, those were the top guys in that draft by most people. But Shai Gilgeous-Alexander I liked him coming out. Like, I really liked him when he was at Kentucky. And I'm not surprised that he's turned himself into a really good basketball player. Hell, I'm not surprised that he's even an all-star. But I don't think anybody in their right mind saw this coming from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander years later. I mean, this dude already is one of the top 3 to 4 players in the league. I mean, seriously, like I think if you did player rankings, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander at worst would be like in the top 4. You know, I'm sure you will have Jokic and you will have Giannis and you will have Luka. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander will be right there. You know, some people might even have him like 2nd or 3rd at this point. We're talking about best players in the league. You know, but his growth trajectory has been incredible. And this is a guy that I have to remind people, like, the Clippers drafted him. Like, he wasn't drafted by Oklahoma City. He was drafted by the Los Angeles Clippers. And he was drafted at pick 11, which means 10 teams passed up on this dude. And so he was on the Clippers, and then the Clippers traded him. And look, I get why the Clippers traded him, because at that time, you know, you're trying to get Kawhi Leonard, which they ended up getting. And Kawhi Leonard was, at that time, he was one of the top 4 or 5 players in the league. Like, he was basically Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, what Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is now. You know, Kawhi Leonard was basically that back in 2018, 2019. And so I totally understood the Clippers' idea of getting Kawhi Leonard. And obviously they got Kawhi Leonard and they end up getting Paul George. And so, and at that time, everybody was kind of praising the Clippers for trying to, you have these two big scoring wings who can pass, shoot, create their own shot, play defense, have, 6'7". Like that's the prototype that teams want nowadays. And so I get the Clippers thinking, but man, I mean, they gave up Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to the Oklahoma City Thunder, and they gave up a boatload of first-round picks that the Oklahoma City Thunder even owe to this day. And man, oh man, oh man, has Shai Gilgeous-Alexander delivered, man. He's delivered for the Oklahoma City Thunder, and for the Clippers, I mean, it's painful, but man, I mean, when you look at their situation and the fact that they don't have Paul George anymore, and look, I don't blame them for moving on from Paul George, considering how Paul George is looking these days for the Philadelphia 76ers. And so I don't blame the Clippers for moving on from Paul George, but man, like, you gave up Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and you're still not in any close to winning a championship. And Kawhi Leonard's had these little injuries, and you don't have your picks. And you look at Oklahoma City Thunder, and they have who I believe should be the MVP, and they still have first round picks that they could use. I mean, it's incredible. It's truly incredible with where the Oklahoma City Thunder are. And it's because of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And to me, what makes Shai Gilgeous-Alexander special as a player is like I said, just the efficiency in how he's able to get buckets. Like, this is a bucket getter of the highest order. Like, he can score. When you watch him play, he's just smooth. He glides through the court. Like, the way he just goes, the way he attacks the rim, and he has herky-jerky, crossover, step backs, hezzy pull-ups, footwork, getting to the basket. Like, the way he just glides through the basketball court is like, it's effortless with how Shai Gilgeous-Alexander just maneuvers around the court. And not only that, but the way he draws fouls as well. Like, he's people in the NBA, they don't like dudes that draw fouls. They don't, we use the word foul baiting. Trae Young does it a lot. James Harden does it. Damian Lillard does it. Joel Embiid, at least when he's healthy, he does it. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is one of those guys as well. Like, this is a guy that foul baits. Like, he uses his body, and he'll put his butt out, or he'll twerk his body towards the defender, and he'll get a call. And that even makes him even tougher to guard, because you have to account for that. While also, this dude can just get to anywhere he wants to on the floor. Like, his footwork and how he's able to just maneuver himself to the basket, and the way he can cross you up, and he can get to his mid-range shot. And he's become a better three-point shooter. Like I said, he's shooting 37% from the field. From three this season. And so this is a 3-level scorer, and you add in the fact that this dude is 6'7", and so he can shoot over defenders, most defenders that are guarding him, and it's hard. He's hard to handle. He's hard to handle, and it's hard to find a comp for a player like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I'm thinking maybe like Dwayne Wade. That's probably the one guy that kind of comes closest to me when I compare him to somebody. But man, he's tough. He is tough to handle. And along with his offensive skill package, when I'm talking about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, this is a dude that also plays defense. He's one of the top 10 leaders in steals. And so this is a guy that's good at, getting in passing lanes. He can guard on the ball. He can guard off the ball. And he's a part of a Oklahoma City Thunder defense that's number one in the NBA in defensive efficiency. And so this is a player in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander who also plays defense, along with his ability to score the basketball. And so he's tough. I mean, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, man, I can't say enough but good things about the Oklahoma City Thunder. And like, the reason why I have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander as my MVP ahead of someone like Nikola Jokic is not just his basketball abilities and what he's doing defensively, but you just look at where the Oklahoma City Thunder are in the standings. They're 53-11. They have the second best record in the NBA behind Cleveland. And in the Western Conference, they're 12 games ahead of everybody else in the Western Conference. They're 12 games ahead of everybody else. And the Oklahoma City Thunder are doing this with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander leading the way despite maybe their second best player, Chet Holmgren. He's been out for most of the season. I know he just came back, but he's been out for most of the season. The guy that they traded for in the offseason, Alex Caruso, he's missed some time, and at times he's been ineffective. He's been like a little bit of a disappointment for them so far. And so he hasn't really done too much for their team. And Isaiah Hartenstein, he's also missed some time this season. And so they've had some injuries. They've had a little bit of ineffectiveness for a guy that they traded for. They're a young team. And so it's basically Shai Gilgeous-Alexander carrying the fort, you know, considering who they've had available at times over the course of the year. And despite all that, they still have the best record in the Western Conference by a wide margin. And it's because of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I mean, this dude is elevating his basketball team. And he's doing it at a level that we just haven't seen since, like I said, players like George Gervin, Michael Jordan, and Steph Curry. Just players I mean, there's just not many players on the planet that can score 30 points a game on incredible efficiency while also playing defense. And there's not many players on the planet that are scoring 30 points on historic levels of efficiency, especially from a guard. That's the other thing. This is a perimeter player doing this. A perimeter player averaging 30 points on 50% shooting. Just perimeter players that are doing this. Like I said, Michael Jordan, Steph Curry, and George Gervin. I mean, it's just incredible. Like, players who score 30 points on elite efficiency are usually bigs and wings. It's like Giannis and Jokic and like prime Shaquille O'Neal or prime Hakeem Olajuwon. Like, it's usually never players like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander doing this. I mean, and he's doing it. He's doing it. And you just got to tip your cap to the man. And the fact that he's been able to improve at this level just speaks to his work ethic and his commitment to excellence and just his, you know, self-awareness and care factor of just, hey, I'm willing to do whatever I can to get the most out of my abilities. And you can tell that this dude is in the gym, and you can tell that he's a student of the game, just the way he's putting in the work to make himself the best player that he can possibly be. And he's an unbelievable player. And in my eyes, I think he should be the favorite. He should win MVP. And as far as the Oklahoma City Thunder is concerned, I've pegged them to be the favorites coming out of the Western Conference before the season started. And I still feel that way today. They should be the favorites to come out of the Western Conference. And very frankly, I think they should be and look, with all due respect to a team like the Boston Celtics, I think the Oklahoma City Thunder should be the favorites to win it all. Like, that's how high I've been on this team. And just the way that they play defense, just their depth of defenders, you know, when you're talking about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren and Isaiah Hartenstein and Lou Dort and Isaiah Joe, and I can go on and on and on, you know, Wiggins. I mean, they got players. They got players, and they got guys who know their roles, man. And the Oklahoma City Thunder look like they look legit. And like if you've been paying attention to them, especially for the last like month or so, I mean they're just beating the holy crap out of everybody. I mean every game they're just blowing teams out. They're just blowing out a team by 15 to 20 points every game. You know, they did it to the Denver Nuggets yesterday. And it doesn't matter what team they play. The Oklahoma City Thunder are gonna they're gonna put it on you. And they're a tough customer, man. They're a tough customer. And you look at how they've built their team, and they've built them. They have a really good team, a really good young team, led by a superstar, top 3 to 4 player in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who should be the MVP. And I think there should be every reason to believe that they should come out the Western Conference. And it's led by a player that I believe should be the MVP of the league, and his name is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.